Eagles to the Indianapolis Colts. That's the breaking news that is reported by ESPN's Chris Mortensen and Adam Schefter. This has been a long time coming. Just a few years ago, Carson Wentz basically leading the Eagles to the Super Bowl. Injuries take over. He wasn't able to do it. And now the Indianapolis Colts as well. Their quarterback situation up in the air. Phillip Rivers retires. What were they going to do? And now, Adam Schefter, we have our answer. The man who broke the news along with Mort joins us now live on SportsCenter. Adam, what can you tell us about how we got to this point? How'd the deal get done?
Well, Sage, the Colts and the Eagles were in discussions for the last 3 weeks. I think really from the day after Jared Goff got traded from Los Angeles to Detroit and Matthew Stafford went from Detroit to Los Angeles. The talks heated up at that moment and really have been going on for 19 straight days. And they were at the brink of the deal the whole time, but it was only until today that the Eagles finally signed off on the agreement that will send a third-round pick this year to Philadelphia and a conditional second-round pick next year that could become a first-round pick in return to the Eagles from the Colts. Each side gets what it wants, right? Carson Wentz wanted out of Philadelphia, did not want to be back there. The Colts wanted Carson Wentz to work with Frank Reich, their head coach, who was his former offensive coordinator in Philadelphia. Frank Reich is a Carson Wentz believer and the biggest proponent of this trade. And that's why the trade gets done, because Frank Reich believes that he could salvage Carson. Carson wanted out of Philadelphia. The Eagles recognized they were better off moving on and getting the picks in return. And that's exactly what unfolded here, with the Eagles now obviously having to eat some dead cap money, but not having to pay the roster bonus that's due next month of about $10 million. So there are all sorts of implications, and it's a continuation of the offseason quarterback movement that we've been expecting. We've now seen the first and second overall picks from the 2016 draft traded 19 days apart. First Jared Goff, now Carson Wentz. Wentz has a new home. The Eagles now have Jalen Hurts as their quarterback, but I think that they'll be looking to bring in competition of some sort. I don't think they're automatically just going to hand the job to Jalen Hurts and say, you are the guy here moving forward. I think that the Eagles will be looking. They've got a lot of ammunition now built up with the extra picks, and we'll continue to see the ripple effects of this trade that was agreed to just a short.
What's going on, everybody? It is T2W Special Edition. I got my boys, Tony, Dan. Thank you guys for coming.
Man, no problem. I like doing this. I like when I can just sit back and relax.
Yeah, you gotta get rid of that picture. You gotta get rid of that picture of me. Whatever.
Yeah.
Come on, man. Come on.
I love that picture.
Well, that I don't want to do any promotions here, but that's a t-shirt company. Actually, it's called Till Valhalla. They support wounded, they've dead officers and dead soldiers, and they bring families plaques and stuff like that based on purchases, from the shirts. So I love the shirt. It was a 4th of July shirt. I just posed for a picture, and now you're making me look like a dork.
Hey man, listen. Anything, I didn't know the story. But because I know the story now, I'm so into it. I'm a vet myself.
Till Valhalla, it's called.
So I will look that up. We'll definitely give them a shout out. Guys, we have so much to unpack. And it was a busy day. Like if I didn't hear about Carson Wentz 100 times, I didn't hear about him once. So let's just jump right into it. We're gonna start with you, Tone, the OG of the Heat Ratio. We know that you normally do your jigsaw's judgment, and man, let's just go ahead, man. Just go ahead. Let us have it.
Well, listen, my boy Mark checking in says, "Where's the champagne, man?" I should have popped open a cork because there was no, in 2021 there was really no New Year's Eve because of COVID, right? But here's the thing, man. I'm relieved. I'm happy. I'm elated that we can finally move on. And I will just say this to everybody out there that says, listen, we're never going to understand what went on behind closed doors. This was an ugly divorce that needed to happen. As simple as that. It's exactly what needed to happen. I don't care what anybody says. This was all orchestrated by Carson Wentz. Say what you want, because at the end of the day, when they came in, I see my boy Trevor checking in. I was on the Upper Bowl podcast today. Trevor hooked me at 1 o'clock. Trevor's like, Toki, come on, it was great. We talked Eagles, we talked hip hop. It was wonderful. But all I have to say is we didn't hear anything about Carson Wentz going somewhere else. They didn't draft Jalen Hurts to be the next guy here. They drafted Jalen Hurts because he was the best value, in their opinion. They had no intentions of moving on from Carson Wentz. Okay, this was orchestrated by Carson. And if you believe something different, then I would love to know why and what your source really is.
Dan, it's up to you, man. Let's set tone straight. Let's get them together.
No, I agree 100% with Tony. I think they drafted Hurts to use him as an asset or a chip down the road. And Carson was just so god awful that they had to do it. Now, the issue is, why did he become so god awful? Was it coaching? Was it his lack of flexibility to ever listen to somebody? Was it his the birth of a child and his heart not being in it with COVID? Who knows what the issue was, but he was historically bad this year. The worst quarterback in the league. And I actually had a polite argument with Tony on one of his shows as a viewer, saying it was all Doug's fault. And Tony was going, Tony didn't like Doug either, but he was blaming Carson. And I was trying to defend Carson. And then a few weeks later, the light bulb went off in my head. I'm like, I can't do it anymore because now I'm looking like a jackass. He is that bad. I can't make excuses anymore. I can't watch replays on ESPN that Orlovsky or Jaws shows when he's looking this way at a guy covered and there's somebody streaking down the middle of the field wide open. He was missing reads. And then when he had throws, he was making inaccurate throws. He was just historically bad. Now, Donovan, many years ago, had a historically bad 4 or 5 game stretch as well. It was ugly, and he got benched. And then he got all indignant also, and they wound up giving him a pay raise to appease him. And he was never really the same after that. He was on the downward spiral. So I don't know. It was just ultimately time to move on. And I agree with Tony also that Carson no longer, as much as we would have liked to have made it work out for the salary cap reasons and the perspective of maybe a new regime could turn him around, I think he now would have Philly turn on him. He is now not a Philly type of player. You don't act like a diva that is almost like he's taking his ball and running off the basketball court because he didn't get his way. I mean, he played that poorly, and he is going to be indignant about getting benched. He was awful. It was weeks coming, and that's not going to fly in this town.
Yeah.
And I really don't know what else to say. I mean, we have other topics on this regard, but I'm sure we'll cover them.
We got to go right to. I have to laugh because I'm looking at what Mark wrote in. Go play duck hunt in Indy, right? And I have to laugh because that's what I want to say as well. Is Carson wanted to leave? Okay, and I'm so tired of hearing everybody stick up for Carson. Listen, Carson wanted to go. He didn't want to be here. And stop saying this is 100% on the organization. Okay, I'm so tired. Listen, I'm not happy with Howie. Okay, I'm not saying that. I'm not. I see Porter checking in saying Howie ain't have nothing to do with it. We need to have receivers in a decent line. Can't throw on your back. I understand that. But here's my issue. Carson was given opportunities, right? And Jamar, you know that. Carson was given opportunity. I mean, listen, it's not, it didn't work. Okay, fine. Certain guys didn't work. Certain guys got injured, but it's not like they sat back and didn't do anything.
Yeah, I'm about to see. I love this because this is something that the Oracle told you guys was going to happen. I remember coming on my first show with Tony, and I told him this dude was chopped liver, and he should have been chopped liver for quite some time. All right. So let me just start by saying this. So first of all, let me quick. Scotty, what's up, man? You guys had a great show this afternoon. Shout out. They also did a reaction video on Heat Ratio. Go check them out. Listen. So my first thing I'm going to say is this. Carson Wentz is a mental midget.
Thank you.
And because he is a mental midget, he has been affected by any type of competition that has come his way. He does not like to be challenged. That was his thing from the beginning. It's all good. When you got these type of A type, mentalities and these alpha males, as long as they're in charge, they have no issues. They have no problems because everybody's stroking their ego, telling them how great they are, telling them how awesome he is. And to be honest with you, I'm going to be real. 2017 is far removed at this point. Like, we need to stop bringing up 2017, his almost MVP year. Stop saying that. That is the stupidest thing I've heard. Like, almost don't count. If you don't believe it, go listen to Brandy. She says it a bunch of times on the chorus. Almost doesn't count. The only thing that almost counts in is horseshoes. That's it. Like, and maybe cornhole. And maybe cornhole. But stop it. I'm tired of hearing about the 2017 season. He did not win the MVP. He also did not win that ring. There is a statue, which we have located in the bottom of this thing, that is of Doug Peterson and Nick Foles. It is not of Carson Wentz almost getting them to the Super Bowl. That is not what the picture is of. So please, for the love of God, move on with your lives. He is now gone. Maybe you get somebody better. Maybe Jalen Hurts is the guy. But let go of Carson. This is a bad breakup. Just get rid of all your pictures of him and all that.
Well, Mr. Oracle, I will say this. I really don't have an issue with him having that awkwardness after the Nick Foles winning the Super Bowl. I mean, listen, it wasn't his fault he tore his ACL. And, who would have – did any of us think that run was going to happen? We lost Peters. We lost Hicks. We lost Wentz. We lost Sproles. We lost so many key players, and we went on that run and won the Super Bowl. So I get while it's like an eggshell awkward thing with the whole Foles in the background. Now, if he was indeed simple-minded or mental midget, as you said, with Hurts being in the background, then that's ridiculous. I truly agree with that. The Foles thing, I get to some extent. The other thing I want to bring up, and Tony, I don't know if I shared this with you, but JD and I talked about this on his show last week. I believe part of the reason he wants out isn't just the fact that he's angry that he got benched. I truly believe he's being ostracized in that locker room. I don't think he's well liked by a lot of his teammates.
Well,
and there's nothing more uncomfortable than being in a locker room where you're not liked.
I don't disagree with you. And here's why I don't disagree with you, because as much as, and I'm going to give JD his credit because he did come on and say that. We both agree. But what he also did come on and say, which I can't wait to hopefully have him do a show in about 6 months to prove himself correct, when he did say that Jalen Hurts was absolutely the guy to be able to lead this team. So I'm curious to see if that happens. But what I will say, Dan, is what you're alluding to is 100% correct, because how many times have I talked about the smoking mirrors, and in the sense that where there's smoke, there's fire, with that Joe Santaloquito piece that came out, right?
Yeah.
Right. It talked about how
the whole Alshon, yeah.
Yes, he was a little bit uncoachable. He had a little bit of an ego. He didn't listen to veterans, right? And I'm not saying it was 100% true. What I'm saying is there was some kind of substance there. And then Malcolm Jenkins also came out about 3 or 4 weeks ago and said that he has to lose his ego. Okay, that was the leader on this team, the veteran leader. So obviously there was a little bit of a rift. That's exactly what you're saying. So there was a rift going on in that locker room. But here's the funny, Jamar. This is what I want to laugh about, because I kind of posted a little bit of this earlier. You mentioned about the statue. All right. And I laugh because all the Twitter people, right? I say Twitter because that has the most trolls more than the Lucky Charms. Okay. But all I know is all those trolls, what they say, they're the people who love that statue. They absolutely love it. Right. But now they're the same people that are saying, oh, well, how do you think Carson feels? There's a statue. It's not even to him. You were the ones who wanted the statue. So now it's so nauseating watching these morons Okay, go back and forth, flip flop. Like, just stick. Listen, I don't care if we disagree, but stick to one main point and stay with it. Focus on it and own it. Just own it. It's just like, it's so ridiculous. I just laugh. So, first of all, the media is biased, right? It's the media's fault. They ran Carson out of town. It's the media's fault, right? But then the media tweets later and says, you know what? Carson never demanded a trade. And those same people that said the media are monsters are tweeting out going, see, he never demanded a trade. Oh, stop. So what is it? First of all, when your narrative is correct, the media sucks. When your narrative is wrong, the media is great. Like, come on, man. Like, get over it. We need to move on and worry about next year. We're going on with Jalen, and we'll talk about what's going on now. But, man, all right, I'm done for a little bit.
But real fast, Fitty, I'm not going to go on a Tony rant, but think temporarily remove Porter Gold from the screen. Thank you. You've got that statue, and you've got the other statue. So you got the statue of Carson that gets sacked in the pocket, and you got the statue. Everyone's gone. It was 2017, and everyone's gone. Everyone's out of the picture. It's embarrassing. It's embarrassing. Seriously.
We're laughing stock.
I actually bought into the new norm, and as much as we have to bang Carson for not being 2017 Carson, we have to. Well, if that's the case. The 2017 Super Bowl, the 2017 Doug, that's gone too. And that's why Doug is gone too. So it's got to go both ways. Doug had his supporters. I wasn't one of them. I had to eat crow because 17 happened, and I welcomed eating crow because that was the greatest moment of my life, my sports life, to be honest with you. I cried like a baby when they won. But that was an outlier. And if it was an outlier for Doug, maybe 17 was an outlier for Carson because he has been on a precipitous decline. Injuries could be part of the reason, but and I love Al. Al's one of my favorite people on our network, and he defends Carson, and he has all the right. But that year where he threw for 4,000 yards, he still did not look clean to me. And when he got hot, it was against 4 piss poor teams in our division that he rode into the playoffs. And I'll give him credit. He had a nice 4-game stretch, but he still did not look good. He was missing a lot of throws that year. And you get yardage when your team throws the ball 70% of the time every freaking game. So just by accident, you're going to get 4,000 yards. And how many quarterbacks in this league get 4,000 yards? Most of them roll out of bed nowadays with 4,000 yards. So that to me is not such a phenomenal accomplishment anymore. It was with the receiving crew he had, but he still had great tight ends, and a good quarterback makes average receivers better. True. So all these arguments could be. That being said, I still do have a little fandom for the guy, and I'm not one of these guys that's going to wish ill will. I don't want him to fail. I don't want him to fall on his face so I can say I told you so. I want the kid to rebound and do well. I'm not a spiteful fan when it comes to him.
We gotta get some of his comments.
Yeah, I was gonna say, get to some of these comments because they're very interesting.
Okay, so where you want to start, Tony? Can you see him?
Yeah, I can see him. Let's start with Vinny's up here.
Okay.
About they should have never drafted Hurts. That's the real problem.
Okay, where are we at with that one? Let me see.
I'm up a little bit.
Can you touch it?
Yeah, I can get it. Yeah, right here. Here we go. So Vinny says they should have never drafted Hurts. That's a real problem.
Can I get that one? Can I please take that one?
Well, yeah, go ahead, man. Go ahead. Man. Talk about it, JD.
Vinny, I love you to death, man. I always see you on. I haven't had a chance to formally introduce myself to you, but I am JD Oracle. So I'm going to tell you why that is not your problem. Because if drafting a rookie is going to cause your quarterback who is getting paid $100 million to have a conniption and no longer remember how to play football, then he's the solution. He's not the problem. He just showed out the deficiency. And the deficiency is that Carson Wentz is a mental midget and cannot handle that. That is the difference between some of these bigger quarterbacks that come out of the NCAA and some of the smaller ones who are not used to the quarterback competition. Now, this is what I'll use, and I said this to Tony weeks ago. the difference between the Carson Wentz situation and the Jalen Hurts situation is Jalen Hurts also got benched in college in a national championship game. And he didn't run away. He never talked about it. He didn't transfer schools into the portal, asked to be, released into the transfer portal. He stayed there. Not only did he stay there that year, he finished that year in an additional year till he graduated and went to Oklahoma, and where he balled out. So to me personally, if this is your problem with the Eagles was drafting Jalen Hurts, then that's the mental part of the game that we need to be talking about, because that's the part up here that you can't fix. So that's my only thing. I'm done.
I agree with that 100% but I think where Vinny might have been going, and I can't speak for Vinny, but they shouldn't have drafted Hurts because it wasn't the player to pick at that spot. We needed more help than Hurts. But if picking Hurts made Carson, insecure, that's a problem of and onto itself, So I hate it. I'm still apoplectic over the pick, and by accident, this stupid soap opera happened. But it was, I think, a poor selection. I didn't value him at that spot. I'll defer to you. You're a college guru, but real fast, a friend texted me, and I have to share this if you guys don't mind. Now that Carson was traded, he is no number one quarterback since 2009 are with the same team, 2009 to 2016. Every quarterback drafted from 2009 to 16 in the first round are not with their same team. That's how hard it is to hit on a stud quarterback. And I don't think Tua is going to be around much long either, to be honest with you.
That's an unbelievable stat. It really is
unbelievable.
I mean, Herbert, Burrow, those type of guys will probably stick around. But I don't see Tua sticking around. But the Mariotas, the Winstons, the Luck's out of the league.
Let's go see
RG3. Yeah, I know, but he's not with his current team. RG3 and now Carson and Goff. It's amazing.
But see, here I got to get it. I got to get more into this here.
Go for it, Tom.
Oh well, only because. And Dan, we disagree and we agree on things, right?
Yeah.
But I need to play devil's advocate here. So for all the people that said that shouldn't have been the pick, it's kind of I'm telling you right now that narrative may change because
at the time, though, how did you feel? That's all I'm asking.
The time, I was shocked. Right? I was shocked. I didn't say I was like. Let's see what the plan is here, right? But I go back and I'm a very transparent person. You go back and understand my logic. I did say on multiple occasions that maybe they drafted him as Carson Wentz insurance because maybe number one, whether it was his attitude, his health, or his process, something they felt was maybe flawed. And guess what? That's the reason why Howie Roseman is still here. I said this a year ago, and I said, listen, this could all blow up, and Howie, I actually thought Howie and Doug would still be here, right? But Howie is going to come out and look good because he's selling Jeff. To say, Jeff, listen, even if we have to get rid of this guy, I drafted this heir apparent last year. So everybody wondering why Howie's still here, that's why. I'm not saying I agree with it, but in a sense, he's kind of a genius. Think about it. He covered his ass. So think about this. Say there's no Jalen Hurts right now. Say there's no Jalen Hurts. Carson Wentz gets $100+ million, has a suck-ass year last year. They have no backup because they have one backup who's in Texas. Right? So they have one backup who's in Texas. Then they have, right?
I forgot about McCown. Yeah.
Right. They have one who's in Texas. They have another one who shouldn't even be a quarterback in the National Football League. Okay. And now they have nobody. And now what do? But now they had something. And why? Because of Howie. That's why. They had it because of Howie. So that's my point. I'm not saying it's like, oh, I love Howie. No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying is you better be careful Because in a sense, whether this works out or not, and I'm not going to stick up for all his draft, and that sucked, but that move right there is probably what saved his job right now.
Yeah, I don't listen.
I think it was an accident because I don't think he foresaw this season coming.
Well, hold on. I'm gonna say something. I think that Howie might have been using Jalen Hurts as an insurance policy for Wentz because of his injury history,
which makes sense. Yeah.
So I mean, maybe Jalen Hurts wasn't drafted to be the heir apparent. Maybe Jalen Hurts was drafted to be the insurance policy because this dude gets hurt a lot. Like,
well, JD, let me ask you this question.
Okay.
What quarterback went in rounds 3 or 4 that you have high regard for that could have been maybe an insurance policy or a developmental player?
None.
Okay.
I mean, honestly, because at the end of the day, like
Russell went in the 3rd round many years ago, that kind of a player.
But I mean, the only reason I say it is because you have to think about the era. Like the era is important for quarterbacks because
mobile
type of guys. Like there wasn't a whole lot of mobile guys left. And only because I watched a whole lot of college, I just knew that there wasn't a whole lot of value at the QB position this last year. But let's say it's this year. Let's say the Eagles just traded Wentz and they're going into the court looking for a quarterback now. At 6, you could do some damage because of the value that is out there in quarterbacks right now in college. You could get a pretty decent quarterback.
Who do you like the best once Lawrence is off the board?
Ooh, see, that's loaded because
I know
you got 2 different ones. What I don't trust Zach Wilson, and the only reason I say that is because he's one of the. I'm just not big on quarterbacks that haven't really been tested. So I would go with Justin Fields. He's a mobile guy. He's big. He's strong as an ox. He's also one of the 600-pound squatter guys that we see at quarterback, and he can throw the ball. And he carved my boys up. So I'm still butthurt about it, but I think he's probably the second. He's going to probably end up being the second best quarterback out that draft. Just being honest.
But it goes back to Tony's point, though. If Howie turns out to be this genius and we have the luxury of Hurts and we have a new wave quarterback in our system already, I don't think you draft a quarterback.
Yeah, I can't believe that we would trade Carson to draft a quarterback. I don't see it because here's what's going to piss me off too. Like, whether you believe in Hurts or not, don't tell me these same people that are going to say draft a quarterback when all you told me is they have so many needs on this team. Why would you draft a quarterback? Now, those people might tell me that, Carson was better than Hurts. Listen, all I know is Jeffrey Lurie sat in a press conference and he said it's going to be 3 to 5 years before this team turns around. You look at the cap history of this team and how cap-strapped they are moving forward. They don't have any young players. Name me a young player under the age of 30 that you have confidence in on this team. It's a major problem. This is a rebuild. People wake up. So why are we drafting a quarterback at number 6? We have to do the complete opposite. We need to stockpile this team. That's what we need to do. So you take the best offensive lineman in the draft. You take the best linebacker, the best corner, maybe Surtain, maybe he's there. I don't know best what. All I know is you need to take the best talent for this team because you need everything. You can't mess this up. You need every position on the field. That's what you need. Except, in my opinion, quarterback right now. I would much rather give Jalen Hurts at least a year to see what he can do before I go number 6 on a quarterback. Because guess what? Here's the thing. Think about it this way, boys. If Jalen Hurts comes in and sucks ass, we're going to be in the same predicament next year, and we're going to be drafted in the top 5. So you're going to have an opportunity. And Jamar, I don't watch college. I'm going to be fair.
Spencer Rattler.
Right. I'm going to be transparent as hell. I don't even know if there is a quarterback in 2022. But what I'm saying is, here's the best of both worlds. You have a great situation here because if Jalen Hurts is really good, that means you're solid moving forward. But if Jalen Hurts really sucks, you just pick a quarterback next year. So, yeah. Right? I mean, is that far-fetched?
Yeah, but I got to talk to Trevor real quick. All right. So what you guys aren't understanding is Joe Burrow is an Ohio State guy. Like, funny story. Joe Burrow is Ohio State. So if you want to do this, Justin Fields isn't an Ohio State
Georgia.
guy.
He's Georgia.
He's
right?
a Georgia guy.
Yeah.
So while we're sitting here throwing stones at a glass house, Like, let's just be honest. You can't use the college as the reason that the school has a good quarterback. It just doesn't work that way. And to think about it, these guys you're talking about, even Cordell Jones and all those guys, those aren't their current coaches' quarterbacks. Like, those aren't his guys. Justin Fields is his guy. And Justin Fields is a beast. He played against Clemson, beat them basically with broke ribs. And that's hard to do. And the second thing about it is we just watched Joe Burrow transfer from Ohio State to LSU. And he carved the nation alive and just continued to do it. So before anybody hits me with that Ohio State doesn't have quarterbacks thing, you got to give me the full catalog. Don't come at me about Haskins. Haskins does blow, but he's a mental midget like Carson Wentz. So I don't want to hear that stuff. Like, Haskins is a nut job. Like, that doesn't count. So count Justin Fields with the same thing that you count Joe Burrow with, and then we'll look at it at the end of their careers and see how they do. How about that?
I like that. I like that. And this is why I want to get to Vinny, because he wrote Tony, this is the time to get a quarterback if Hurts can't play the 2002. And that's why I'm asking, Vinny. I don't know. Right?
They aren't very good.
I honestly don't know. So, I mean, my point is, and I don't know who said we should have drafted Chin or Dobbins. I seen it up there. Listen, I completely understand. There was, we should have actually drafted Patrick Queen, right? So, I mean, that's who we should have probably drafted. All right. But again, it's still an insurance policy right now if Jalen Hurts can play. This is why I put this all on Carson before we move on. Because they had no intention of trading Carson Wentz. Zero. They had zero intention of trading Carson Wentz. And I'll tell you what. Here's a scenario for everybody out there, and I'm still going to stick to my goddamn guts, and I'm still going to say to my will that Jalen Hurts was a Doug Peterson guy, and Doug went into that office, and that's why Doug got fired, because he said that Carson wasn't fixable, and he wanted to go forward with Jalen Hurts. I firmly believe that. And what happened? Carson gets canned. And then, Doug gets canned, and then Carson doesn't want to play here. So, technically, Carson got Doug fired, right? Think about it. Technically, in my opinion, Carson got Doug canned, and now Carson didn't want to play here. Because, you remember, whether it be Jeff and Howie, they were all in on Carson. We're moving on with Carson. They knew that's why they brought Sirianni in here. That's the main reason. All right, so come on, man. It's crazy when you think about it. It's and CJ Tap checking in on YouTube. I seen that. Hit that subscribe button, my man. Heat Ratio Sports, help us out. That's one way you can help us out. JD tells you all the time. I'm gonna tell you as well. I know Dan Flyer and Ice, when he's on Flyer and Ice, hit the subscribe button on the Heat Ratio Sports. That's how you get all our content on a consistent basis and see all that stuff in the background. That's all my man JD Oracle, because this dude is a producing monster. I just had to say that because you got to get a shout out, bro.
Appreciate you. Yeah. So I just got a challenge, I guess, to go on the Upper Bowl podcast. So I guess I'll be doing that.
Go check it out. Get on there, man. And you'll get on the hip hop list too. So you got to get on there, Trev. Get them on there, Trev.
You don't want me being the hip hop representative.
Yeah. I love it.
Oh my God.
Yeah, but Trevor, I'll come on anytime, man. Just let me know what's up. We'll do it. Back to his points. I'm gonna hit CJ's point real quick. He said if Justin Fields drops behind Zach Wilson, Trey Lance, like they see the latest mock drafts, we'll be talking about him the same light as Deshaun Watson and Mahomes being drafted behind Trubisky. Hey, CJ, listen, this guy's gonna be a guest on my show Friday, and I can't wait because this is the type of heat he's coming with. Like, yes, this is what happens. We get enamored. We're victims and prisoners of the current moment. We don't look at the entire body of work a lot of times. We look at what they've currently done. With Trubisky had a good year in college. He had one single season at North Carolina, and he was average. And if you guys don't remember, they lost to Deshaun Watson. Just kind of throwing it out there.
That's like,
But if he's the guy that you take ahead of him, you should look at that body of work. He played decent. They still lost. The only person that I saw legitimately give Deshaun Watson the business the whole time in college was Alabama. And that's because they were full of guys, full of Heisman finalists. Like, that's the caliber of player we're talking about. And I would love to sit here and debate it all day long. But that's why I don't take Zach Wilson. I just don't. I don't think his body of work is good enough. And I take a Justin Fields because I saw what he did at Ohio State. They're still playing a very tough, difficult schedule, and they're not backing away from anybody. So I've seen him play against really good defenses, and I've seen him play against really crappy defenses. And there was a lot of people who were very, very high on Trubisky coming out, and now we all look like idiots who thought that he was the guy. But I know he wasn't the guy over my guy. So
let me ask you this question, JD. What if let's say Hurts was the Hurts of last year, or even the Hurts in the 4 games we saw, and he was in this draft? Where would he fall in this board?
In this draft right here?
Yeah.
I mean, to be honest with you, he'd be deep because there's so much, because he's similar to Justin Fields. Like, you're kind of looking at.
I'm saying, do you think he would be a first-round projected pick in this draft?
I mean, yeah, if you put Justin Fields in there, he's the same guy. I mean, it's the same type guy.
So,
to be honest,
so it goes back to what Tony said earlier. I have no interest in looking at a quarterback.
Yeah, I mean, not for that. I mean, if you can't get Trevor Lawrence this year, I mean, he's the clear-cut number 1. So I mean, it's not even close. If you saw his pro day, you know why. It's not even fair to talk about other quarterbacks in regards to Trevor Lawrence. He's just light years ahead. Like, even with size and athletic ability, like, looking at him, he looks like he's supposed to be on a beach somewhere surfing. But the dude is out throwing like 70-yard flat foot bombs and runs a ridiculously fast 40 for somebody that big. So, I mean, I don't know. I think we're splitting hairs at this point. I think your choice is, so we can just get into this real quick. The Eagles select who 6, because this is the kicker. I think the Eagles select either Devontae Smith or and you said Kyle Pitts, and I'm actually big on that pick, and I'll tell you why later, but I'll let you start, Tony. Who do you pick 6th?
Listen, I'm going to say something that's probably going to bother people because it's just the way it goes. I bet you they trade out.
I wouldn't be surprised.
They're going to trade out, man. I'm telling you right now, they're going to piss everybody off. Yeah, right. Everybody's going to get on this Jamar Chase wagon, right? Everybody's
they need bodies. Yeah.
What's that?
They need bodies.
Right. And I think that they're going to look at this as a draft investment and say, you know what, we could drop down to 14 or 15, get a nice big O lineman to fill that line up. And then we can pick up another pick in the first round and probably a second. So I think that they don't even take number 6. I mean, at pick number 6, I don't think they pick at 6 at all. I would say my guesstimation is they'll probably pick around 13 to 15.
Oh man, what did you got, Dan?
Al. Al. I love Al, man.
I love him too.
Yo, Al, Al looking dapper with the he had the Eagles set up today, man, with Scotty. I was liking it, Al. I seen all the Eagles jerseys. He went different half court eat, man. He went to the old school Philly today. I love it.
No, but real fast, getting back to, I wouldn't be surprised, and I'm kind of in agreement with Tony. But if the hypothetical of we're picking 6 pre-show, I didn't say I would take him 6. I said I've heard rumors that they were going to take Kyle Pitts 6, and I wouldn't be upset over it. I wouldn't make that selection, but a quarterback's best friend is a tight end. And that kid is an absolute beast. I remember back in the day, God, I keep referencing my age, when they drafted Keith Jackson with the first pick of their first round pick. And a lot of people weren't happy with that. And Keith Jackson balled out as a tight end. Pitts is a monster. And when you saw what some of these great tight ends were doing this year, Kelsey, Waller, Kittles, Pitts has more talent than any of them. Wow. That being said, I think we need to build on the defensive side of the ball. And if like a Surtain's available, I go that route. But I really do think that Tony's right. I think they're going to trade down for volume. And hold on, let me pull up one of these comments. I lost it. They will trade up to get more talent, and then they'll F it up because that's what they do.
Hey, our man Vinny.
Yeah.
They can't draft anyway.
Right, Vinny. Right. You can't
He's
screw
right,
up.
though.
You can't.
I love it.
Yeah, he is right. You can't screw up a top 10 pick. You know that you can't, because if they took Pitts, if they took Surtain, if they took Chase, if they took Smith, you're not gonna like cry over that.
Guys,
But
you got to go by the Andy Reid school of thought, man. The
in the
game
trenches,
is won
yeah.
in the trenches. So if you have no O line and no D line, forget it. Right? I mean, I think this Super Bowl is evident of that in the highest degree. You took on, quite frankly, the most electrifying offense. No pun intended to The Rock, who is the great one. I'll be the great second, but because I love me some Dwayne Johnson. But at the end of the day, we watched a defense shut them down. So I say, as well as another, probably another ton of people, I build the lines, man. We need to build these lines. You look at this defensive line. You have a Barnett problem. You have age going on. Brandon Graham. Okay, Vinny Curry was a 1 year. Like you have no depth, man. Maybe Fletcher Cox comes back or not. I don't know.
They're going to release Jackson for sure.
Right. I think Jackson comes back because they restructured his deal. They restructured Malik Jackson's deal, in my opinion, so they can move on from Fletcher Cox. So they keep Jackson here, right?
Okay. Hargraves.
So I mean, listen, you got to take the best overall talent, Jamar. I really think you do. I don't know who's there, offensive or defensive line, but I think that's who you got to go with.
So there's a guy, Penei Sewell, out of Oregon. They're saying that he may not be there, which I don't think he will be there at 6. I mean, honestly, but you got to look at what the other needs are, the teams ahead of them. And that's kind of what we're going to break down later on in the year with our draft show, is what the actual team's needs are. Like, we can all sit here and debate, what the Eagles need because we can see it. But
Cincinnati needs a left tackle. So
they definitely need a left tackle because they got to protect that Joe Burrow guy. Because if he gets any time whatsoever, he will carve you up. Like, period. Listen, if I'm the Eagles, man, if I'm the GM, I'm still taking Jamar Chase or Devontae Smith.
Yeah,
because Kyle Pitts isn't if they're not there, Kyle Pitts is a good option. I just think those two are generational talents as far as receivers go, because I've said this multiple times that Jamar Chase and Devontae Smith were each other in different years. Jamar Chase missed this year because he sat out, but Jamar Chase was Devontae Smith last year or the year before that. It's just he had Joe Burrow and dude had Mac Jones. So I mean, come on, man, like. It's really difficult to say this, but we just watched Devontae Smith light the NCAA on fire. Like, at one point, he was the only receiver they were throwing the ball to for 7 plays, and they still couldn't stop him. So, I mean, come on. Like, if you don't take him or you keep the pick, and let's say you go out and you draft, I don't know, you go draft, what's her name? The girl kicker from Vanderbilt?
The Vanderbilt.
You go draft.
Why not, man? Let's go. I'm ready.
It'll be a historic pick, but it will also be an historic F-up. So let's just.
We're used to that.
Right. So I mean, that's on trend, but like, I just want to tell everybody to calm down. I think they're going to keep the 6th pick. I think they will take Devontae Smith. And not only would they
our man Adam, Allie could mess up a soup sandwich.
Adam saved my show tonight.
Man,
he saved your show.
Yeah, we were doing hockey picks, and he was one of the pick. We were doing a March Madness bracket for the all-time greats, and
nice.
He was one of our selectioners, if that's a word.
I like it.
If you don't take Devontae Smith, you're gonna regret it. Just being honest.
Hey, man.
Well, unless they take Chase, right?
Chase. I mean, like I said, they're 1 and 1A. Like, you can't go wrong either. I think on draft night, if you hear anything other than we've traded for 5 picks or we take Devontae Smith or Jamar Chase, whoever it is going to get booed. Period.
That's okay. Listen, it'll just fill in the Philly narrative. That's all.
All right. So we got Sewell's there. Take him. He's the pick. I believe that is a good pick as well. Let's see. If they reach Waddle,
listen,
I'm not opposed. Okay, wait a minute.
Not at 6?
I'm not opposed to Waddle because
That's
Waddle going into the season was actually the number one receiver at Alabama. It was not Devontae Smith. He just got hurt. And if you remember from the national championship game, he actually caught like 4 passes.
He played well, and he's a talent, but
he's not Rhaegar. I can tell you that. He's not Rhaegar.
No, I see that. I get that, but based on the eye test, it kind of is like referenced Jefferson last year. Jefferson wasn't Jamar Chase, was he? Well, and
he was the second guy though. So you got to think about it from the same.
No, I get it, but I think Waddle goes later in the first round. That's all. But that goes back to what Tony was saying. Maybe you can land a lineman, a linebacker in the teens if you make a trade and you get Waddle in the back end. You get multiple first round picks.
True.
So how would you be happy with that? You get some offensive lineman ranked 16, and we also let's say get the 21st pick for giving up the 6th pick, and you get Waddle.
Go ahead, Tony. You take this one.
I'm not opposed to it. Listen, I'm not opposed with knowing like I said,
bodies.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly it, Dan. I want bodies. I want bodies. I need people that are controllable young assets for us to build upon. That's what I need. So then you can bring guys in for multi-million-dollar contracts because you have the young controllable talent. This is the opportunity now. Remember, this is why the Kansas City Chiefs won with Patrick Mahomes, because he was under a controllable contract before they had to start paying people, right? So this is why this happens. When Russell Wilson was going to the Super Bowl, right? He was a controllable talent, right? And this is when you do it. So it's exactly what we need. So I'm all in. If we want to trade back and get assets of that, I'm in for that 100%.
All right, I'm gonna bring up something that Dan sent me, and I was gonna wait because it's very explosive. It's very explosive. All right, so we need to put this out there. You guys get ready. All right, I'm gonna put it up for a couple of seconds.
Blurry, or then again, my eyes stink.
Okay, as long as we don't screw him up. He's talking to John Lynch. I'm pretty sure that is right. That's John Lynch.
Yes.
Okay, John. I'm going to tell you. You never know about a player really, truly, until we get him and you're building. You can work with the guy. This kid is unbelievable. The way he prepares, the way he practices, and for this city, it's unbelievable. It's been fun as long as we don't screw him up. That is Peterson talking.
Prophetic.
It's prophetic, and I waited to the end to put this out, and I'll tell you guys why. I waited to the end because I wanted us to do all our crap talk and give all of our opinions about Doug Peterson and Carson Wentz. But let's say perhaps, maybe, just maybe, Doug Peterson really did love Carson Wentz. And let's look at it like an actual relationship. Let's do that for a minute.
You always go the relationship angle.
I'm good at those. I'm really good at those.
Relationships. He's staying in them.
Now we're doing dating Saturday night with JD.
Yeah, you gotta do. You got. I'm already doing that with my wife, so we gotta.
Yeah, we'll join.
So you guys just join up. We'll talk about it. But in a relationship, I want to look at it like a relationship.
Okay.
And I think that what happened was Doug Peterson met this young, exuberant Carson Wentz. That was a hard worker, a hard driver. He's the atypical still, but he actually liked Doug Peterson and believed in him because Doug Peterson believed in him. It's kind of like when you meet that girl and you take her on a date and she's super beautiful and you believe everything she's telling you and she's liking you, so you're liking her back and you think that it's going to be promising. But this say she starts doing crazy stuff like going through your cell phone and all this stuff. That's his injury. His injury is him going through the cell phone. She's like asking about all these different girls. And then finally you break up with her for a little while. All right. That's the benching. You break up with her for a little while in hopes that she will realize the error of her ways.
And his inaccuracy is how she loads the dishwasher, right?
Or the way she snores when she sleeps. It's just something weird. Something weird, little weird quirk. But then you get stuck with her because now you put a ring on her hand. And now you have to think about every day this woman has now looking at you in the face. So you only have two options. You either divorce her for $58 million or you stay with her and she's going to get on your nerves for the next 10 to 15 years. Hypothetically. until you get the balls and break up with her. So now this is the relationship. He still loves her. He still loves her, still. But she broke his heart. I just want y'all to see that from that perspective.
I love it. And here I'll add to that because I would love to give credit. I think it might have been Berman, might have been Zach Berman. I'm not sure. Tweeted out the irony of this entire messy divorce, just like you've alluded to, JD, is that we still need Carson to play well in order for us to make this deal worth it. So even from afar, we have to cheer for Carson to do well anyway, because if he does, that second turns into a first. So, right? So we want him to play well, play past 75%, and then he can actually be a 1, right? A conditional 1, right? So, I mean, from afar, we have to hope that girl, even though we duped her, we got to hope that the next guy she's with is kind of
she makes him happy.
Yeah.
You just gotta hope that you don't have to pay alimony because you get married. That's what you gotta hope for. Then you just gotta hope that somebody, the next schmuck that takes her, marries her, so you don't have to keep paying her alimony.
Carson just got to give good helmet. That's all we have to hope for.
Look at my boy Rick. That's a Saved by the Bell love story with Zach and Kelly and AC Slater. Oh, yo, Rick, you didn't put Screech in there. All right, Dustin Diamond, rest in peace, man. At least Dustin Diamond, after Saved by the Bell, was doing porn. I'm just saying, at least he was getting it in, making some money. You know what I mean?
Rest in peace, Screech.
Yeah, rest in peace, Screech. Man.
Oh man. You see this one? This one below? Yeah, and then I'd rather see him suck and disappear to become a priest in a mega church deal for Joe West.
And Trevor, man. Trevor be coming up with some stuff, man. I'll tell you. He come up with some stuff. I gotta give it to my man Trev, man. He's a grinder, man. And for everybody listening out there, check that Upper Bowl podcast out as well, man. Him and his boy Jordan. I can't remember the other guy's name. I'm sorry, Trev, but you guys do a great job. So give him a follow too. Check them out.
All right, so I have one more thing to hit you guys with before we try to roll. I'm gonna give you my last segment. All right, before we do that, if let's say you guys, he goes and he just messes it up, but he gets hurt. He gets hurt and he does not fulfill his, his obligation for the 75%. Do you as Philly fans feel like you guys dodged another bullet, or do you, even though you don't get the first round pick? Because it's a double-edged sword. Because I think that's in there because of his injury stuff.
It definitely is.
So are you thinking that you dodge the bullet if he gets another major injury and can't fulfill that, that part of his contract?
I believe in karma a lot. So I don't even want to think about that, to be honest with you. I don't listen. If him being healthy, shows that. Obviously gives us a better pick. But my main concern about him being healthy. Like I would not want to say, all right, you know what, we dodged another bullet. So you know what? Here's what I think is going to happen. I fully believe that he's going to go on and be successful with this team. I do. I feel he will be successful. Just like you said, JD, in certain marriages, that when they don't work out, they just don't work out. No matter how hard you try, you could go to the marriage counselor. People just grow apart. Right. So forcing it. It's like, here's the scenario. It's like when you have kids, when people say I stay married because of the kids. Well, that's really not doing them justice as well. Those kids are like the people in the locker room. If you're right, you're putting a front on. So that's really not going to help. So, yeah, I mean, listen, I think this has had to happen. I think Carson goes and does very well in Indianapolis. Do I think they'll win a Super Bowl? No, but I think he'll do very well. And you know what? You'll still have the naysayers out there to say this was a bad deal and we should have never done it. But here's a problem. No matter what he does in Indianapolis, people remember he wasn't going to do it here. So no matter what, you have to remember that. It wasn't going to happen here, so we had to move on.
And I also believe that he doesn't even have to play great to hit 75% of his snaps. Because let's face it, the Colts don't want to lose face on this either. If he was horrific like he was last year, that's a whole different story. But if he's still hasn't found himself, they're still going to stick with him because So I still think we get. So if there are people out there that want to see him fail and want us to get that conditional pick turned into a first, that could easily happen. I'm not one of them. I don't want to see him fail. For some reason, there are plenty of players when they left us, I wanted to see them fail. He's not one of them. I don't have a hatred towards the guy. I don't like how he handled things. I do think he was a baby and all that stuff. Hopefully he'll use this as a life lesson, and the whole change of scenery will be good for him, as Tony referenced. Change of scenery means a lot to an athlete. That could and especially a changing scenery with a coach that you like and likes you back. So listen, we have to worry about our organization, not theirs.
This is true.
You see this one right here, Tone? This is a pretty good one. Don't address some of the needs on the defensive side of football. I think that Colts are the favorite in the AFC South now with this move. He's an upgrade from Phillip Rivers, and that's true.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that at all. I don't. I mean, here's the thing, Phillip Rivers, they'll never be, in my opinion, maybe Peyton Manning, but I don't know if they'll ever be a smarter quarterback in the ever than Phillip Rivers. He wasn't always the most physically gifted, but I'll tell you what, he had a hell of an intelligence level. In order how to read defense, in order how to set up formations and run a cadence. So in that perspective, I don't think that's Carson Wentz. But compared, Phillip Rivers had a lot of limitations last year for that team. He couldn't throw the ball deep like he used to be able to, and he couldn't do a lot of those snap throws because of his arm strength. So in that, in that facet, yes, I think you're right. I think this is an upgrade as long as Carson can stay healthy and get mentally strong.
All right, bold prediction. Somebody says Carson's going to be in the ex MVP. So the 2017 Carson's coming back.
Wow. Chuckle. What do you think, Dan?
I don't think it's going to happen, but again,
I'll tell you what, we got to go see the odds on that.
I wish him well.
We got to look at that futures market. We'll dig that up for next week. We'll do some futures market, see what that is.
I think the city deserves misery that Carson Wentz will bring to us. From far away, I have to learn a lot of turncoats in this city.
Does Mariota do better on his new team? Because I think he's going to be dealt.
Yeah, I think he's going to be gone too. I listen. Here you go. JD, I know it's not on there, and I know it's on a Philly show, but maybe we close it out this way. Just
okay.
give our, because I was asked as I was on at WAG, good friend of mine, Rich Spits on Sports out there, and he asked me before I got off the air. He said, "Where do you see Deshaun Watson going now?" So it was a good question. So I was like, you know what? Let's finish that. Because right now, I mean, let's be honest, that it's the next shoe to drop, and a lot of people are like, "Oh, well, no. Listen, I brought it up, and Dan knows this. It's set in the market, right? Carson had to be traded first, so now that agent can go and be like, all right, we had Stafford, get this haul. We had Wentz get this haul. Now my haul for Deshaun needs to be up here. So I'm curious to see where you guys think that Deshaun Watson ends up. JD, or you know what? No, he's the host. He go last. So we'll go to Dan first. All
right. I've been saying this for a while. I think the perfect fit for both teams is you get somewhat of a haul for him, but hopefully the Texans are interested in Tua. So you get rid of Tua, who was a number one pick, and you don't have to give up maybe 3 number one picks like other teams might. So you maybe give up a couple number one picks and Tua for Deshaun. So I'm thinking Miami gets him.
I like it. Interesting. I am, when I was asked this today, there's 2 teams that stand out, but there's one specifically. And I really think that if you look at the entire landscape as a whole, now I don't know what kind of draft capital they have, but I'm with my man Adam down here. Washington. Because I see my boy Ron Rivera saying, I had Cam Newton for how many years and we went to a Super Bowl. And I'm looking at Deshaun Watson and say he can move like Cam, may not be a tank like Cam, but guess what? From a physical attribute, when we talk about being a quarterback, he's a step above Cam Newton.
Way better.
Right? I think that's undeniable. So I think if there's any opportunity for this to happen, I think he goes to Washington. And I'll tell you what, if he goes to Washington, the Philadelphia Eagles are screwed.
Well, the division screwed.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Well, absolutely. But
And if I was Houston, not only do I want a couple key players on their defense, to be honest with you.
oh, well, without a doubt.
And that could maybe
help.
help the NFC East out a little bit.
Right. And like I said, then you get them out of the AFC.
Yeah.
Right. So, I mean, I don't know. Jamar, what do you think, buddy?
This is a loaded question. You give me this one like right before the end.
Yeah, man. Absolutely.
All right. Turn the hat backwards. This game time.
It's over the top.
Right. It's all right. So this is how it goes down. So I'll answer both of the ones with the Carolina and the Washington, and I'll tell you where he's probably going to end up. All right. So Carolina would be a good place for him to land because they have a lot of receivers. They also have Christian McCaffrey, who is also basically like a receiver, and it would be a great place for him. He, went to Clemson. It's really close. Dabo could come to all the games. That would be great. That would be a good pick. Washington would be an amazing pick for him to go because they have such a great defense who could constantly get him the ball back. But what do you have to give up to get him? Do you have to give up Chase Young to get Deshaun Watson? Because if you got to give up him to get Deshaun Watson,
they wouldn't do it.
Well, you just got rid of JJ Watt, so that would be that's could be kind of used for that. They the same position. That's all I'm saying. I don't know what you got to give up to get Deshaun Watson. He's going to take a lot. So in my honest heart of hearts, I do believe I put that at the bottom. DW4 free. No, he's not going to be free, guys. He's going to stay in captivity because they don't let things like that happen. They already traded the DeAndre Hopkins for a pack of now and laters. So they ain't giving up Deshaun Watson. He's going to be there. He's going to be a Texan.
I disagree, man, because guess what? If he doesn't want to play, he's not going to play. And that is not going to do any justice for the Houston Texans. He will strong arm them, and he will get traded. And you know what? I don't blame him either. I don't blame him at all. I want to get the hell out too. Honestly, I don't blame him. I mean, they traded away D-Hop the year before. The whole organization's been dysfunctional, right? So now there's more like snow caps. I could kill a snow cap right now, but yeah, but no, I think inevitably he will be gone. And don't rule out that guy named Kyle Shanahan out there in San Francisco because that's a team right there that you could have a scenario with Jimmy G going back to New England and Deshaun Watson winding up because they do have draft capital and they're built for the long haul with young players on that defense and receivers. They have a ton of things to offer out there in San Francisco.
Wow. Yeah.
Have anybody thought about the Raiders?
Here's the thing with the Raiders. That's a good point because we know they're not 100% happy with Derek Carr. They want to move on for Mariota. Obviously, there's a lot of rumors with him. So I wouldn't be shocked because they had a hell of a draft. I think the Raiders have probably had the best draft of anybody. They had like six picks who made absolute like starter minutes last year, which was most of the NFL. And that's why you hire guys like Mike Mayock. Okay, just saying. That's why you hire guys that know how to draft talent. So yeah, that's a good idea, JD. You never know.
The Raiders are also Clemson NFL. They're the Clemson NFL team. So just in case you guys were wondering where all the Clemson players go, when they get drafted, they go to the Raiders.
They go to
John Gruden loves them for whatever reason. I'm not sure. Well, other than their best, team ever. But other than that, that's where they go. That's where they go to die. Is the Raiders.
Where they go to die. I love it.
Dan, you got anything else to add, man, as far as Sean Watson pick?
No, I mean, if that scenario happens, it would be interesting that the Carr brothers both play for Houston if Derek's thrown in with that trade.
That would be nice.
David and Derek.
All right, guys. Do you want to do the last real life segment of the night? What we do every night for this show?
Yeah, hit it.
All right. So we always do this little part. It's called I'm too much of a fan to do this. All right. So I'm going to give you a minute to think about what you're too much of a fan to do. Like mine is always I'm too much of a fan to pull for the Cowboys because I just hate the Cowboys. So what are you too much of a fan to do? Clearly, you're not too much of a fan of the Eagles that wear Colts hat because that's like Not.
Well, no. See, a lot of people ask about that. I just tell you, man. I like to wear hats. I have a Chargers hat. I have a Braves hat. I like colors, man. I mean, it's my thing. I like colors, and I, run a sports show. Okay, we have a sports network here, so I like to just wear don the sports caps. That's all. But too much of a fan to do. That's interesting. I don't know, man. I like your Dallas suggestion because. I'm definitely too much of a fan to. You know what? I'll say this. I'm too much of a fan to draft Eagles players on my fantasy team because then I have to root just for their production, no matter if they win or lose. So I'm too much of a fan to draft Eagles players on my fantasy team, even though at one time I drafted Donovan McNabb with the number 1 overall pick, as a number 1 overall pick. So, but yeah, I'll stick to that. What do you got, Dan?
Well, I mean, this isn't what I'm going to say, but I never bet the Eagles because I can't root against them to lose a spread or something like that. But for this particular answer, I'll say I'm too much of a fan to ever jump ship, drop off the bandwagon because of another failed draft. I'm still going to stick with them.
I like that.
Yeah, that's dope. I get to answer these too much, so I won't answer this one. I'm gonna sit this one out because I said I was too much of a fan to ever pull for somebody outside of the Steelers, but I'm gonna probably be a Jaguars fan, and I'm more than likely gonna still be a Texans fan because I just love my quarterbacks. So I'm sorry, man. So I'm not too much of a fan to pull for other quarterbacks and other teams. I'm sorry.
Love it.
And if Jalen Hurts becomes the starter, I already said I'm buying a Jalen Hurts jersey.
Let's roll, baby. Let's roll. I'm ready.
All right, guys. So thank you guys for coming on. Everybody that had a comment, liked anything, subscribe. Please subscribe on YouTube. If I cannot implore you enough, that's how we know you're there. Please subscribe. We're having a giveaway for the to the wire show. I don't even know if it's a podcast. It's a show. To the wire show, and we are giving out a pair of Jordan 23s. I'm going to have a picture up on my Facebook. That is going to be a part of our giveaway. If you like and subscribe within the next 7 days, starting today, you have 7 days to like and subscribe. Screenshot me that you are subscribed. Once you do that, you will be entered into a drawing. I'll let my 2-year-old or my 3-year-old pick the name so I can show you that it's not jinxed and we didn't do anything to the bowl. Once you get it, we will reach out to you via email and or social media. Get your size, and we will also send you a shout out on the show and your address, and we'll get everything rolling for you. So that's part of our giveaway for my show. And Tony, you guys, anything you got to plug?
No, yeah, we're doing the same. We're doing the same thing for Flyer and Ice.
Yep,
exactly what JD said. We're doing the same thing for Flyer and Ice.
We've
got this gorgeous retro Carter Hart T-shirt. So same thing for Flyer and Ice. Subscribe, like, all that stuff.
Yeah, man, bring it up, man. These guys, listen, we got a lot of grinding guys on this network, man. Listen, I would tell you something. One thing I will say is, when you surround yourself with good people, good things happen. And listen, it's way beyond statistics. It's way beyond things of that nature. Actually watch I should say, listen to what you watch. Okay. And one thing I'm very excited about is, and I will unveil this in a couple weeks, but number one, we have an exclusive Twitch channel coming. The Twitch channel will be coming. Okay. And number two, we will have a call-in number coming as well. So we will have a call-in number and I'm not trying to bite off at anybody. What I'm trying to do is I've had multiple people reach out to me because we have people that listen from all ages. Not everybody's on YouTube. Not everybody's on Twitter. Okay. And yes, we're not on the dial. I understand that. But some people are like, yo, I don't go on my phone. Can I get a comment in? So I'm like, you know what? They were like, I would call and leave a voicemail. I would call. So guess what? Just so you know, and JD will know what I'm talking about, but I have professional equipment set up. JD has professional equipment set up. Okay, I could take this equipment, go into a studio, so I have it to where we will connect you into the show via Bluetooth, via phone. Okay, we'll have a phone number. You will be able to leave messages if you want. We're going to have a text line. Okay, we're doing big things here. That's all I got to say. And you know what? Catch on now. We don't hate on anybody. Okay, we welcome everyone and everybody to this network and to the show, man. This is some fun stuff, and I appreciate you guys being along for the ride, and guys like Al and Andre. Okay, everybody is along for the ride, man. It's a wonderful, wonderful thing. We have a new, hopefully, fitness show coming really soon.
Yeah, I was gonna say we're gonna get our viewers in shape.
Yep. Yeah, we're I mean, listen, who else has fitness, man? Listen, we have fitness. I mean, and listen, I'm real fast, JD. Can I just, let me say the elephant in the room, because I gotta roll. I had a busy day, and my dog is calling me. But what I will say is, yes, the fancy golf show that was on this network is no longer here. People decide to go other places and do other things. Hey, all good. So if you're wondering why on Mondays it's not here, it's okay. It's fine. So we have another show that's coming on. We have Scotty, our boy Scotty Talks Sports, right? He's doing things for us, and we have a couple more things. And I do want to plug one thing. Friday night, I'm really close with the 4th and John guys. If you don't know the guys from 4th and John, they're unbelievable. My man Gail, I know E-Rock is an alum, okay, but I'm doing things. So on the SoCo show Friday night on the 4th and John network, we're going to be talking about the draft coming up and the fantasy impacts. Okay, so we have a lot of things, and then next Tuesday, mark it down, Jeff Mosher from Inside the Birds will be on the Heat Ratio Live show. I talked to him today. We were going back and forth. He's like, man, we planned this perfectly. I'm like, absolutely. So he will be the special guest on the show next Tuesday.
Wait, I gotta pull this one out. This is funny.
What happened to the Wings and Beers Fitness? That's my boy Rick. But that's Jamar. Thanks for producing, man. Thanks for running this show. I appreciate it.
No problem, guys. Yeah, until next time, same bat station. We'll talk. Deuces.